I guess, Barry, you're up with the Cajun Restaurant?
Yes.
Do they want to put any exhibits up?
We've got right already.
Okay.
We're all set. Actually, we have two sets of exhibits before I start. One for the audience, which is directed with them on the easel, and the other set, which is here. This application represents a design review and sign application for a new restaurant proposed. It's generically known as the Cajun Restaurant. That's not the name of it. It's just the cuisine. The actual name will be coming to us in the very near future. This request is for a design review for exterior...
The name is what?
It's,
Come to us in the very near future?
I'll leave it to the applicant to give that to you. This application is for a design review for exterior modifications to the existing shell of the building, which is known now as Charley Brown's Restaurant. There's also an accompanying sign application for a 30-foot high, 81 square foot sign, which is has been removed. It was formerly in the frontage road across from Carlos Murphy's, and it is no longer there. The applicant is actually requesting to replace that sign. The detail, and I'll go to the board, for the exterior work is actually showing several things. The exterior modification of the building as shown here, which would include on the westernmost side addition of a 1,700 square foot landing area to be converted to seating area, as well as painting the exterior of the building with the modifications, and restriping, resurfacing the parking area, and the introduction of new landscaping. The new sign, which is being proposed, will actually be placed in the northeasternmost corner, which is probably the best location for the sign on the site. As you may know, the sign is currently not on site for this application. This provides an opportunity for us to do that. Moving right along into the detail, this is actually more of a Louisiana waterfront style with more ornate type of designs than we presently see in the existing buildings. And the first thing that springs to mind is the dynamic color scheme which is being used. The roof is going to be proposed with an Indian or kind of brown-red color with a mustard yellow background along the elevations, and then you've got olive green detailing the building edge, roof lines, and a window accenting. So that three-color scheme is going to provide a dramatic and we think very unique color statement there on the site. Some of the other changes, you're going to see new railing that are going to be coming in on both the northeast and west side, which does not presently exist. You're going to have dormers along the roof line, particularly from the eastern elevation, and you're going to have the new entrance area be framed in with a new entryway. So that's going to be providing the principal colors and exterior changes there for the exterior of the building. And as I indicated before, the landscaping area will be replaced and put in here. One of the things that staff would like to note is that there are 3 existing pine trees which are in healthy condition. The applicant had originally proposed to remove them. We found that they provide an important amenity at that particular site, given the fact that we've got the new walkway and the new bay trails, and we feel that we do not want to remove that landscaping. It would be very difficult to replace it, and we don't support that. And so we've actually placed that in condition to protect those trees. With regard to the sign, and the sign is actually shown a little bit better here. The existing Charley Brown sign is 30 feet high. This sign will also be 30 feet high with a dimension of 81 square feet. This actually matches that. They're going to be having an alligator motif, torched metal with backlighting. We find that that's a nice sign. It goes well with the Cajun motif, and it links well with the design of the building in terms of color scheme, material, and identification. Now, we understand that overall, many people think this is a radical departure from the kind of muted, more conservative Charley Brown building, but in analyzing this permit, we found that it is actually consistent with the waterfront theme that is existing now on the Emeryville waterfront, specifically the Hong Kong East Ocean and Trader Vic's have more cultural, aesthetic architecture, which is really dynamic and works well with those businesses. When people think about Hong Kong East Ocean as well as Trader Vic's, they think as much about the architecture, I think, as they do about the cuisine. And so we find it's an amenity that actually supports the business and the way that it operates. By supporting this kind of request, we see that as another opportunity to extend that kind of theme to this particular site. And it's not uncommon, even beyond Emeryville, that you will see this type of architecture, at least in the Bay Area. You've got His Lordship's, which is an interesting design in the Berkeley Marina, and you've got some interesting similar types of architecture along the Jack London Square and the estuary. So this is not uncommon, and I think this is provides us to continue what appears to be a very viable architectural style that we have adopted. And we do not currently have this kind of a restaurant. So with these types of considerations and these types of recommendations, that concludes our staff report. We are recommending approval, and we think that this is a dynamic design. Questions?
Questions to staff, commissioners? Okay. Okay, I'm going to open a public hearing. Okay, public hearing is open on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Sadi Hayashida. I'm the architect for the project, and I wanted to thank you for considering our project and Barry's assistance in making a presentation in our behalf here. I wanted to just mention that we are in communication with BCDC. We have been told that it may be a very easy and expedient process on their part to get approval, which is unique, I think. But we'll see. The other one is that the Army Corps of Engineers has in fact called me back after 7 phone calls in 7 days. So we're getting close, and so I can assure you that we are in communication with them, trying to get their approval or at least their review. At this time, what I'd like to do is to introduce to you Henry Lenny, who is the project design architect, and he'll further give you some other information, unless you have some questions of me at this time. Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes.
Are these documents required, this thing called an amendment permit from BCDC and clearance from the Corps of Engineers?
We understand that that's the case. When I talked to the, his name was Rick Cooper with BCDC yesterday, he stated that as long as we have that transfer permit number, then that would expedite it, and the new owner of the property is in process of doing that. So that's in the works.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, my name is Henry Lenny, and I'm working, as you know, jointly with Sadi in this project. Very briefly, I simply wanted to explain to you that this building actually was very amenable for a transformation that we're proposing. One of our themes, basically, along with the Cajun or the Louisiana type food, was to try to convert the building into a Louisiana-type plantation, which coincidentally is very much in keeping with the Bay Area architecture, because as you know, that some of the plantations really stem from Victorian architecture. As far as the colors are concerned, you know, colors are extremely tricky. And what I like to do usually, rather than just making a decision with swatches, we like to actually provide some colors right on the building so that we ourselves can make sure that the building is not loud or garish. That's the last thing we want to do. We want to make sure that there's some compatibility with the rest of the buildings around, and but also introduce the type of traditionalism, I think, that is not only symbolic of the type of character that we're trying to achieve with this building as far as the food is concerned, the entertainment, but also the architecture. But we also want to make sure that it's compatible with the traditions of the Bay Area. And being a student of architecture for many, many years and loving San Francisco because of its architectural diversity, there's plenty of lessons to be learned, I think, in this community. In any event, what we're trying to do is basically enhance what we have at the moment. I think we recognize and understand your desire to have tight controls on aesthetic values of the sort, and we're going to try to pursue to be extremely sensitive throughout the process of this project. And so, if you have any questions regarding the aesthetics, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have a question. What's the difference between scheme 1 and scheme 2?
Color.
Oh, well,
Is that it?
you know, it's basically only the color, but as you know, the original renderings have one color. Once you make them into a Xerox color copy, that turns the color. This is why I was saying that colors are the only way one really makes a decision was actually placing it on the building itself. Let me, if I may, also, if I have answered your question, there is no difference. It's just some studies showing some different
That's
cues.
different to me.
As far as the sign is concerned, the theme that we chose to take was basically a waterfront theme by using the pylons, which, as you know, presently exist immediately adjacent to the building. The sign we propose to be three-dimensional sign, so each element is going to be set off from the other surface. That allows us also to provide some indirect lighting. Being from Santa Barbara and having a very strict sign committee and landmarks commission there, I think I've learned my lesson about signs. And I was designing the sign as if we were in Santa Barbara, so to speak. No, but the idea basically to make it come through well and being tasteful, but at the same time with a bit of humor, was to actually try to incorporate the lighting totally indirect. And that's going to be our goal, even though the drawings are very conceptual, as you can see. Thank you very much.
I have a question of you. You must feel liberated having left Santa Barbara.
Actually, I do.
What kind of entertainment are they proposing to have?
Oh, I think along with the Cajun food concept, we haven't really settled everything yet, but we were thinking about gospel singers on Sunday as an example, something that would go well with the ambience. And it's very well indicated. I think what we're trying to achieve is a total environment that represents an American culture in this country, which is wonderful and very infectious, actually, if you've ever been to New Orleans, along with the food and the music and the environment. So we're trying to do this both within the building and outside the building as well. So we haven't really, to answer the question, directly defined it yet, although we have some conceptual ideas at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else want to speak on this? Public hearing's closed. Commissioner comments?
I actually have a question. Someone walk me through this parking, because I'm losing parking, adding parking.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. Presently, first of all, you need to know that the building has and meets its current parking requirement. It's approximately 12,000 square feet, and when you do the math on it, it requires approximately 97 parking spaces. If you count up all the spaces which are shown here and here, it's 118 spaces, so they more than meet and they exceed.
Barry, you want to use the mic?
Yes, I'm sorry. They more than satisfy the required parking. So that's good news. with the proposed addition of 1,700 square feet, that addition will be along here. That will require an additional 14 parking spaces. So the 97 plus the 14 then puts you about at 111, 110, and they will still be in compliance. They'll be able to provide all the required on-site parking even after the additions, and there will be approximately 7 spaces still surplus after the addition. So the parking has been addressed adequately. Any other questions?
I have one, Barry. Maybe I misheard this, but I thought Claudia indicated that you had put in a condition of approval of keeping some of the trees.
Yeah, that condition, it's buried in with some of the other conditions, and let me go right to that and point that for the commissioners. If you go to condition under design review, under 3B, the first line is 3 pine trees located north of the building shall be retained.
I counted 4 up there. Yeah, I know the drawing shows 3. I was out there and I saw 4.
I think that we should modify it to say 4 pine trees should be retained.
Good catch, Andy.
If there are 4 pine trees.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
I also don't care about saving them, but...
Are you just trying to needle us? Sorry.
Other commissioner questions?
Okay.